Jake Cole from Slant Magazine said this about No Way Home. There's no attempt to hide that the film is pure fan service, a greatest hits mashup of Spider-Man's cinematic legacy. Sounds pretty awesome to me. With Spider-Man's identity now revealed, Peter asks Doctor Strange for help. When a spell goes wrong, dangerous foes from other worlds start to appear, forcing Peter to discover what it truly means to be Spider-Man. The movie stars Tom Holland, Zendaya, Benedict Cumberbatch, Jacob Batalon, Jon Favreau, Jamie Foxx, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, and many, many others. Now, before we get started here, yes, there is going to be some spoiler talk in this video, but not until later. We're gonna do my non-spoiler talk for the beginning, so no worries if you hadn't seen the movie. But yeah, we are gonna be talking spoilers later for sure. I don't want to pick on Jake Cole from Slant Magazine, but fan service is not necessarily a bad thing. Fan service without any connection to any story element can be a bad thing. My best example that I always use is from Rogue One, when Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba are there on Jeddah for seemingly no other reason than to have everybody in the audience go, "Hey, remember those guys? They were in Star Wars A New Hope." Truth be told, Spider-Man No Way Home is the best use of fan service I've ever seen in a movie ever. I can't think of a more rewarding and a more just satisfying movie. This movie is way, way, way more emotional than I thought it was going to be. I found myself tearing up in a couple of different parts, and not because of anything really bad necessarily. It was joyous, but it was also very heartfelt and pretty awesome. In fact, I think this is Tom Holland's best performance ever. I mean, not just as Spider-Man, but at least from what I've seen, it's the best performance he's ever put on, period. Zendaya was great as well in the scenes that she's in. It's actually one of my biggest complaints for the movie is that, for this being sort of a celebration of Spider-Man as a character, Peter Parker as a character, and also that relationship with MJ, I feel like she wasn't in it as much as I would have liked, but it was still very, very good, and what was there I really liked. Also, I will say that Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe also just, absolutely killed it. Moments of just a huge smile on my face. This is also one of those movies that I feel like it dragged a little bit. The movie's not perfect. Let's just be honest with ourselves. It's not perfect, but even when I say that it drags, I can't think of any scene that you could take out, because they're definitely building toward things, right? And there are things that happen in that first act, even in the second act, that build toward the third act. So I honestly don't know what you would cut, but I've only seen the movie once, so I guess that's a thing. But still, what an achievement. In fact, in my opinion, this is the best Spider-Man movie, at least live-action Spider-Man movie, since way back in 2004 with Spider-Man 2. This movie it had a lot to live up to. There was a lot of hype. There was a lot of, there was a lot riding on this movie, and I cannot believe that they pulled it off as well as they did. If I was going to give this one a score, I would give it 3.5 out of 4 stars. So that is highly recommended for me. Now here's where we're going to go into spoilers, and really a lot of it is probably just going to be me gushing. But if you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home yet, I would highly recommend you click away now, because yeah, we're going to get into it. And hey, just watch the movie and come back. It's okay. You can do that. So yeah, there were a lot of leaks that came out months and months ago. I'm not even sure when it happened, but I saw some pictures and thinking, that looks real. That doesn't look like it's faked at all. And of course, these were moments before any of the backgrounds were put in of Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire on the scaffolding at the Statue of Liberty, which I didn't know what that was, of course, back in those pictures. But yeah, that was That was a thing. And so I always kind of had in the back of my head that, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to be in it, you know? So the big moment when they actually arrive, I was kind of expecting me to go, yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. But it still had an effect on me. The impact was still there. And I think that's a that's just amazing that they're able to pull that off for somebody who actually knew it was coming, for it to still have an impact. That's really, really well done. Some of my favorite scenes are the scenes with the three Spider-Men. You got Tom Holland, you got Andrew Garfield, you got Tobey Maguire, and they're just kind of talking, and they're kind of relating to each other, and all that stuff. I found those scenes to be absolutely just, oh, so good. And there was actually something that happened that it didn't get a laugh in my theater, but it cracked me up. And it's after the whole Tobey Maguire, and they're talking about, oh, that's, you make that, in your body, the organic web shooters versus the mechanical, or the web shooters that Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield use. And I just love the scene where, Andrew Garfield gets some of it on his face and he just goes, gross. And it just, I don't know, it really cracked me up. And I don't see a lot of people talking about it. So I just wanted to say, I love that. And as cool as all of those scenes are, they never got away from the fact that this is Tom Holland's Spider-Man movie. I mean, I think there's this tendency to think that it'd be real easy for Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire to just kind of take over, but they never did. And it always felt like a Tom Holland movie. It felt like it was here. I really, really am just kind of blown away by how well they pulled that off. As far as emotional scenes, I've heard a lot of people say that they full on cried, and they did this, and the Andrew Garfield catching, MJ, and all that. The scenes that really hit me was Tom Holland with Aunt May. When Aunt May is unfortunately dying, it was really, really strong work from Tom there, and I was just really, really impressed. And then for some reason, I didn't expect it, but the scene where basically Tom Holland is saying goodbye to the other Spider-Men, and they hug each other, and it was just rather beautiful. So here's a question, something I'd been kind of thinking about. So everybody forgets that Peter Parker exists, right? It's not just that they don't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. They literally don't know that Peter Parker exists. MJ and Ned they don't even recognize him. They don't acknowledge him. They just think he's just another guy, right? So does that mean that all the Avengers don't know anything? I mean, it's kind of weird, right? I mean, there's a lot of history between them. So I'm kind of curious as to how that's affected. I don't know if we're supposed to think about it that much. I think we're just supposed to kind of go with it. And as long as the beauty of the way that they ended this is that Spider-Man, Peter Parker, in this world, or in this universe, or whatever, they can separate him off and kind of do his own thing over in the Sony Spider-Verse, or they can integrate him back into the MCU at some point, right? So I don't think we're supposed to think about it that much, but it's something that I thought about immediately. I was like, so nobody knows, huh? That's weird, especially since he had his mask off a lot, and it's just something I was thinking about. And speaking of that, I love the way that the movie ended. It's like so many of some of my favorite Spider-Man stories has nothing to do with him knowing anybody. It's literally just him living in the city and doing the thing. He's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I love that, and I love that that's the way it ended. It almost, I've heard a lot of people say this, but it was something that I was thinking too. It's almost like these three movies were his origin story, which is kind of cool. And I think that's just really, really well done. And even though I've never been a big fan of the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I don't think a lot of people like those too much, but I've said for a long time that I thought that Andrew Garfield was my favorite Spider-Man. He was just, there was something about the way that he played the character that I really enjoyed. This movie just cements that for me, that he's just overall the best. I love it, and I love seeing, the scenes where they're sort of building him up and all that stuff. I think that was great, and you can tell he's just having a great time being Spider-Man again. And I mean, who knows? We could see him back at some point, right? I think that'd be cool. As I said, the whole Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire being in the movie was kind of ruined for me uh, a long time ago. I guess I just kind of had it in my head that yeah, that's the way it was going to be, and I was just not expecting to have very many surprises in the movie. But there was still a surprise, and that was Charlie Cox coming back as Daredevil. I was so excited. I mean, there was a news article not even like a week, 2 weeks ago, where Kevin Feige said, "Oh well, if Daredevil does come back, it's gonna be Charlie Cox. We just don't really know when that's gonna be." Yeah, yeah, Kevin. I mean, I just love it, and there's a lot of people that have pointed at that and say that's actually one of those bits of bad fan service because he doesn't really play that much of a part in the story, and it really could have been any lawyer in that situation to play that part. But I think it definitely had a purpose. It showed Marvel's hand saying yes, Daredevil is coming back, and I'm really really excited for that. So, Spider-Man No Way Home, did you enjoy it as much as I did? I mean, apparently a lot of people did. It's sitting currently at 94% on RottenTomatoes.com, except for a few people who apparently don't like having fun. I just had a great time. It's not the perfect movie. It's not even my favorite Spider-Man movie, but it's really really good. So yeah, let me know what you think down below, and we'll talk about it. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.